Hi everyone, and welcome back to another session of the series API testing using Postman. In last session, we created our first request using get method, and in today's session we will be covering another very commonly used method known as post. So before we proceed, let's first understand that what is the difference between get and post method, and what post method can do which get method can't do. So if you remember, get method, we use that to request data from a specified resource, while the post request, they are used to send data to the API server in order to create or update a resource. So whenever we have to make any change in the server, we have to send any data which will change something on the server side, then we will be using the post method. So an example will be any form which requires filling in the details and submitting. Similarly, uploading files or login to Facebook by entering your credentials. In all these examples, there is some sort of data that is entered in the response body of the request and then sent to the server. So let's create a post request to understand it better. So we'll create a post request by clicking this plus sign from here. We can do the same from here as well. So by default, it's showing us the get method, and from the drop down, we will choose post method over here. Right, so we will be using the same example, the same site, which I used last time for the get method as well, but from here we'll be using the post method. Okay, so in the post method, it's showing us this, which I have already opened over here. We will just copy here and paste it here. Right, okay, so if you go back over here, we can also see that there is some data which we have to pass, because of course we are creating a new user over here. So what will be the name, title? We have to specify that, right? So we will be using the body tab over here in order to specify the data. So there are different types, different forms in which we can send the data to the server. In this case, we will be opting for the raw option. We will cover these in detail in a while. Okay, so I will just paste it over here, and then I will just send this request. Okay, so if you can see over here, we have received the status which is created. It shows that the request has been fulfilled and resulted in a new resource being created. So we did cover the basics, the responses in the last session. So if you haven't gone through that, then please cover that so that you can understand that how each response is different. Okay, so in this case, we have got the 201 created, which shows that it is successful to do what we wanted to do. So it has created a request, created a record over there, and we can also see an ID and what's the number and when it was created at, etc. So all this is done. Then now let's have another one. Let's try another one. Okay, if we scroll down over here, we can also see that there is a post request for registration. All right, okay, so if we click this, let's just close this one. Okay, so you can see that over here also we have got some details in the body which we have to pass on, which are email and password. Okay, so I will create another one. Select post from here, paste here, and now let's try something different. Instead of passing anything from the body, we will just keep it as none, which is default, and I will just post it like this. So now you can see that we have got the status 400 bad request, which means that the request cannot be fulfilled due to bad syntax, and the error is showing missing email or username. So when we are sending a request to an endpoint, then already there is an expected response which the server was looking for, and if we are not sending the request in the same format, then of course we are getting some error. In this case we are getting 400, which is the correct behavior, because we missed specifying the email, username, password, etc. right? So we will go back over here now, and we will copy all these details. Over here we will again select raw, paste. Okay, so now we have got status 503 service unavailable. Okay, so when we get this response, the server is currently unavailable because it is overloaded or down for maintenance. Generally this is a temporary state. Okay, so this is what we got. Okay, so now what was the issue over here? Okay, so the issue in this case was that we selected this raw option from here, but if you see the content type, the header content type, it was not JSON, it was text. Okay, so what does the difference makes? Now you can see that as soon as I switched it to JSON, the status is 200, which is the correct one. That's what we were expecting, the correct behavior. Okay, so why we were getting that 503 error on the text content header? Because this is what the server was expecting. So we cannot send another format than what the server expects. Otherwise there will be no response or the incorrect response, which can obviously be seen by the status code of the response. So that's what I wanted to show, that even though we are hitting the endpoint with the correct body, all the details, correct details in the body, but if we are not selecting the correct content type over here, that will also cause an error, and it will not result in a successful request. So now as soon as we have chosen the JSON type over here, we have got our expected response. So this is something which you will play around with all the different options, different combinations, then you will understand it better. So I will highly recommend doing that. Okay, so we have done, we have created, and we have also used another one by registering. Let's just try one more. Okay, so let's go back and see what else we have. So we also have login. So let's try login. Okay, so again over here, if we see the login, we have some details over here which we have to send in our request. We can create a new one. Okay, then again, if we just send it like this, we will get 400 bad request, missing email or username. So we have to give the details. And from here we will select JSON and we will send. So we have got the correct status over here, which is 200. So I hope that this part is clear. Okay, so we have already covered that it's critical that the receiving application, it resonates with the format which we are using, and the content type header, it indicates the type of the body in the post request, so we are using the correct one. Okay, so now when we have used the raw type. So let's have a look at what happens when we choose any other these different types in the body tab. Okay, so by default it shows as none, which means that when you don't have to pass any details whenever you are sending any request, if you don't want to pass anything in the body, then yes, by default it would be none. Okay, so but we will need to send body data with the request whenever you need to add or update structure data, because that's the purpose of the post request. So for example, if we are sending a data to in this case, like we wanted to create a new user and then we registered a new user as well, so in that case we had to use the post method, right? And the content type which we used was JSON, right? And let's have a look at the other ones as well. Like the second one is form data. So what form data does? So form data basically it allows to send key value pairs. And what does I mean? What does it mean by key value? If you can see that we can specify a key which can be a field, like let's say username, and then what's the value over here, or it can be a field known as ID and then the value over here. So we can use it for that as well. Or we can as you can see that apart from text there is an option of file as well. So we can also use a key, let's say that any image, and then we can select a file from here and then use it for that. So if we have to send a file along with some other data as well, we can use this option which is known as form data. Okay, and then if you can see that the interface of the form data and the next one, which is xwww form URL encoded, it's similar. So what's the difference? So they both are used for almost same purpose, and the only difference is that in the URL encoded format, the URL will be encoded as the name suggests. So by encoded, what we means that it will be sent in different characters, so that it's not recognizable, and it's usually done for the security purposes, but otherwise it works similar to form data. The next option is raw, which we have already used. So this is the most used option while we are sending the body in the post method. And it means that the body message is just shown as a stream of bits representing the request body. The next one is binary. Okay, so the binary is used to send the data in a different format rather than any text, etc. So for example, if we have to send a file or an image, then this option can be used. So if you remember, we can also use the form data as well for sending the file, but in that we can send the file along with the other details as well, while in binary it's only the data, only the images. Then the last one is GraphQL. So through this option we can send GraphQL queries in our Postman request. So this is a new setting, new type in the body tab which has been added. It was not there before. So we can use this, we can add the query, the GraphQL query over here in the query box, and while we can use the GraphQL variables section over here. So these are all the options in the body tab of Postman, but mostly we'll be using the raw option, but it's good to know that what are the other options used for. So pretty much that was all for the post method. So I would strongly suggest to practice the post request, and if you have any questions, then please leave in the comment below, or you can also send me a message in the in our Facebook group. I will leave the details in the description if you are new and if you are not already a member of our Facebook community. So I hope that you found this session useful and you were able to understand that what are the post methods. So we will cover another kind of request method in our next session. Till then, take care of yourself. See you then. Bye.